Welcome to the land of milk and honey. It's been a minute. I was getting over a sickness, as I mentioned in the last video. So I don't really have anything planned. This is just going to be a spur off the lips, so let's get into this. So I'm wanting to start to make videos more, I guess, spontaneous, not in a physical sense, but there was a few videos I tried to just plan out too much, and I didn't like the way that they came out. So now I'm just gonna, open up my MacBook, grab the microphone, put it all together, and then just start talking. And right now what's coming to my mind is really just change. I mean, you see the seasons change constantly, just like our own lives change constantly. If I were to go 10 years in the past and go to 10 years in the past you and say, hey, you're going to be doing this, and you're going to be thinking like this, and you're going to have this type of income, and you're going to have this type of job, and you're going to be waking up to experience this, and you're going to have these types of people in your life, and this is who you're going to be with all the time. And if I started to explain to 10 years past you what your life is today, you would not believe me at all. And so you have to realize that we all go through change, drastic change. Usually it's not good, not at all. And so not even just for 10 years, you think about a year ago how different things were. And I mean, if you're young, it's going to be different. The older you are, years start to get the same if you start drifting and you aren't on your path to growth, wealth, prosperity, anything. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So you have to realize that it's possible to be unbelievable 10 years from now. Now, unbelievable can go both ways. Let's say you went to a dinner party, and let's say your wife or your husband stayed at home, and let's say it was so terrible, the most ridiculous things happened, and it was also terrible on your part. Let's say you screwed up a lot, and you go back and your wife or husband says, hey honey, how was the dinner party? You can say, oh, it was unbelievable, and she might take it as, oh yeah, well, great, I'm glad you had a great time, not even knowing that it was a terrible time. While also the dinner party could be great, and you could say, well, it's unbelievable. It goes both ways. Your life is going to be unbelievable in 10 years. If I were to tell you where you're going to be in 10 years from now, either way, whether bad or good, it's going to be unbelievable. So if it has the potential to be unbelievable, why not go up the scale rather than down the scale? And this is the point where you have the choice to either move on or to keep still and drift through life. We all have the choice. Every day that we wake up, we have a choice to do something. I mean, all you have to do is just figure out what you want. Find your purpose. Find your stick. Make sure that it's what you want to do. Start setting your goals and go for it. It's that simple. If you can direct your mind towards it, that's where it'll get you. And a lot of people wonder, well, why am I in shit right now? Did you have any goals? Did you have any aspirations? Any inspiration? I mean, there's no more inspired people. I mean, it's rare to find anybody inspired. And a lot of the times, it's hard because a lot of people can't find inspiration. And so that's a part of my mission here, because I want to also help people help those around them. I want you to go out, and I want you to be a light to the world and a light to those around you, because there's a lot of uninspired people in this place, you see, and all they need is some inspiration, and that's what you need to do. Now, you don't have to be like me. You don't have to be like anybody else. You don't have to be inspirational, motivational, self-help talk. You can do it in your own individual ways. You can help people. You can be there for people. You can... I don't know your specific circumstances and situations. You have to take all of this and apply it and form it to what's going on right now. And a lot of people, when it comes to seasons, they're stuck in the winter. And that's usually when it's cold, the nights are long, dark, lonely. And what happened was that they didn't plant any good plants back in the spring. And then, even if they did, they didn't tend to the field during the summer, and then didn't reap any of the rewards in the fall. And when you don't reap anything in the fall, that's why they call it the fall. It comes right before the winter of your life. And a lot of people can spend winter the rest of their lives. And so when you don't reap anything that you've sown, that's how you get stuck in the winter. And if you're stuck in the winter, you're like, well, how do I get out? How do I move on to spring? Well, it all starts in the head, in the thinking process. Like I've said before, what you think about, you'll bring about. And so you need to start setting off goals. You need to start thinking better. You see, summer will not come if the sun does not consume the constellation of Aries. Did you know that? And Aries corresponds to the head. It's the sign of the ram, the head. It all starts in the head, in the brain, in the thinking process. If the sun does not consume the constellation of Aries, there is no summer on the face of the earth whatsoever. It can't happen. And so to get out of the winter, the sun within you needs to consume Aries. You need to start thinking. You need to start coming up with goals. You need to wake up in the morning and don't get on your phone immediately. That's a big reason why a lot of people have stressful days. And if you want to know something that'll change your life, the moment you wake up, don't get on the cell phone. The first 20 minutes of your morning is when the subconscious is open and susceptible to anything put into it. So you'll have a very stressful day after checking your phone. So-and-so texted you. You need this. Your boss needs this. Your schedule's like this. Stop it. It all starts in the thinking process. It's how you get yourself out of winter and into spring. It won't happen. But here's the thing. When the sun consumes Aries, when it completely consumes Aries, that's when summer comes. And so you're like, well, how do I do that if I don't even know how to get into spring? This is why you need to start setting goals, like I've said. Start making EONs. It's what I call end of night goals. So before you go to bed the previous day, you start writing 3 goals, simple little goals. Maybe do the laundry, read a book, watch a Tony Robbins video, whatever. Just little EONs, end of the nights, because it'll get you into habit of figuring it out what you really want. And for those bigger goals that you want to set, those year goals, those lifetime goals, what you want to do, start setting these EONs. Start preparing. Start planting the seeds in your mind that you want to come out. Because if you want to get out of winter, you have to start over. You have to completely start over. You wonder why there's babies that are 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, and they could speak 2 languages, 3 languages. It's because they grew up in it. It all went to their subconscious mind when they were a baby, like I said before. So what you need to do is start over. And while you cannot get rid of your conscious mind, you can definitely shut it off. And this is done through meditation, and I'm not going to go over that right now. There's plenty of information on meditation online. But what you need to do is to start filtering out the thoughts, like I've said too. There's a reason for all these little things that I tell you to do, because they really do impact. They really do help. Because these are the things that help you start over. They refresh in your mind. Because when you're born into a wealthy family, you have all the wealthy habits, all the wealthy beliefs already put into their subconscious, and that's why they all grow up rich. And you'll have broke families, have broke children who will grow up and go right through school and be broke, just like the parents were. It's all about what's being put into the subconscious. So start filtering out the thoughts, start setting the goals, start going for it, start thinking in the morning, wake up in the first 20 minutes. Think about what you want to do for the day. Think about how you're going to get the goals that you wrote down before you went to bed done. What are you going to do other than watch Netflix, go to work, and this, that, and the other? You have to start, because if you don't even start from point A to point B, you aren't going to get there. And people don't get this simple concept. And you're like, yeah, I know, obviously I can't get to point B if I don't move away from point A. People say that, but you see in their actions, they don't move and they don't do anything about it. So to get out of the winter into the spring so that the sun can consume Aries in your life and bring summer into your life, you must start over. That is the first step. Start getting new ideas, new mindsets. Listen to people like Tony Robbins. Listen to people like Jim Rohn, Les Brown. If you're Christian, listen to T.D. Jakes. But there's a lot of Christians out there that I've heard, they talk about how he's the occult and this, that, and the other. But he has great motivation. Don't throw out a guy just because one little thing. You need to listen to the message. Don't worry about the man. Worry about the message. And this goes to apply with everything. You hear some people, they're listening to a song, and the driver playing the song is like, so do you like this song? And the passenger says, who is it? Well, what's it matter? Do you like the song or do you not? People have such a concept about the person rather than the message, the artist rather than the song. While yes, it's important, don't focus too much on it because you'll become delusional and you won't really gain knowledge, because if you're listening to things that you agree with, you'll never learn anything. You have to listen to things that challenge your way of thinking, that maybe if I say something, it doesn't change your mind about something, but maybe it gets you to thinking about a new idea that you come up with yourself, and it's wonderful. And then you can put it in the comments for me, and then we can talk about it, because I love talking about ideas. It's great. It's how things get done. The greatest ideas weren't just 100 years ago, 2,000 years ago, whatever. They're happening every day, all the time, all throughout history. So you've got to start over. You've got to gain a new way of thinking. You've got to get a new mind. You've got to wake up in a new mind. So start filtering out the positive and negative thoughts. Start setting the goals before bed. Start waking up. Don't get on the phone. Don't do anything that stresses you out in the first 20 minutes. That's when your subconscious is susceptible to anything you put in it. And so if all you do is stress the first 20 minutes, all the subconscious feels is stress, and it's just going to give it back to you in wonderful abundance. So start doing those little exercises that I gave in the first video, in the first few 10. Especially the first one from the Why Watch This video. It's not in the Wealth and Prosperity playlist, but I told you about diaphragmatic breathing. Breathing in for the same amount of counts, holding it. Out for the same amount of counts, holding it. Kind of like in for 3, hold it for 3, out the breath for 3, and then hold it out for 3. And that can really distress you. If you're starting to get stressed out, just start breathing deeply in the nose, out the nose. A lot of people say in the nose, out the mouth. Whatever. You don't have to listen to just me or somebody else. Do whatever works best for you. Some people are mouth breathers. Some people are nose and mouth breathers. What feels best and distresses you, do it. Because actually, when people are stressed, you ever notice that they'll puff their cheeks full of air? Kind of like a fish, and they're like... I did that right in the microphone. It's probably going to make a weird sound. But you know what I'm saying. It's actually a natural de-stressor. You should really look it up. Look up body language. It's a great thing to learn. And you'll understand why we do certain things because of certain things that are going in on our head. And then you can start to figure out what you're doing and why you're doing it. Psychology is an amazing thing. I've been ranting for too long. Hopefully y'all basically get the idea by now from this video about how you need to start over. Because if you're stuck in the winter of your life, you're not going to get onto the spring unless you start over. And then once you get into the spring and you start sowing the seeds, then you can start to bring summer into your life where you tend the land. And then next fall, it's not so much of a fall because all the rewards you reap will keep you safely in your home, right next to the fireplace, warm and toasty. I will for you all to prosper and have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.